Shane Ryan, 151-80913, Teacher as a Researcher podcast. So, the issue which I'm going to discuss throughout my article is the idea of grouping. So, why I'm choosing this is because whilst on placement, every couple of weeks, myself and the cooperating teacher, we sit down and we discuss the positioning of students within the classroom and how they are working together and how can we improve this. And you can see there the graphics classroom, which is so this is the proper layout for a graphics classroom, as you can see. So there's both grouping and there's groups of 4 in the middle, and then you have pairing on either side of that. So the question I'm wondering is, what is the most effective manner in which to group students and position students within the classroom? So moving on to my research question then, what my research question is heterogeneous grouping versus homogeneous grouping within a graphics classroom. So heterogeneous is the mixed ability, and then homogeneous will be of similar ability grouping. So my literature review, first of all, I'm going to be looking at the types of grouping, basically just finding more definitions for heterogeneous and homogeneous grouping and what exactly they are. Moving on then, I'm going to discuss the junior cycle policy documents. So in relation to both the classroom layout and the new junior cycle, what they're going for is this whole work together approach, which I feel interlinks very well with what I'm looking at in relation to grouping. Going more in depth then in relation to the grouping, so I'm finding very little literature in relation to graphics and technology subjects. So what I'm doing is I'm going to look more in depth into STEM subjects, so the likes of maths, that can intertwine with graphics classrooms, and I'm going to look at that on both a national and an international level. And finally then I'm going to look at the effects of grouping and the effects of each type of grouping. So for example there you'd be looking at the effects of heterogeneous grouping and the effects of homogeneous grouping in relation. So if we pair students with stronger students, or if we put a student with a weaker student, are we basically self-fulfilling their ability, or so basically the effects of the grouping. The research methods, so there's going to be both qualitative and quantitative. So there's interviews and surveys. So the interviews will be semi-structured with teachers, and the surveys once again will be for teachers. And then I'm going to carry out an experiment, which is quantitative. So the experiment is going to be 2 groups of students, so that's going to be run over a period of time. So my control group is going to be a classroom of students that just walk in and they just sit wherever they like. So they're going to end up being a heterogeneous grouping. So there's going to be mixed ability sitting together, and then so my experimental group then is going to be when we can decide where students sit in relation to their ability. So I'll put strong students with stronger students and weaker with weaker, etc., and just kind of see the difference in the results and see the difference in the learning environment. Of course, we have to be careful here with ethics. With the students, we don't want to be given names of students and stuff like that, or the results. We need to keep that to ourselves, especially in relation to the names with GDPR. So the implications for practice. So I think this is a very it's a very important piece of information I'd like going forward with me going into my teaching career. When I go into a classroom, I know whether to position students with stronger students or which way to position students, or do I just let them all sit down? I find that very interesting. How can I best create a positive learning environment by positioning students in an effective manner? And of course, teachers in general are going to be more educated on where to position students in the classroom. So thanks for listening.